Good evening. Thanks so much, Dr. Bob McBride, Superintendent of Lockport Township High School District 205. And I am so happy to be able to introduce you to long-term partners. I'm going to introduce in a moment, turn it over, I should say, to Kamala Martinez, who's the Executive Director of KidsMatter, who's helped us sponsor and launch tonight. But and I've been working with Kamala just for a number of years intensely for the past year here in Lockport 205 during the pandemic. But a great pleasure to introduce you to someone that I've worked with for 12 years, a Lockport resident, national expert, Detective Rich Wistocki, Naperville Police, retired. And I first met Rich in 2008 when I became principal of Neuqua Valley High School in Naperville. And it might be hard for all of us to remember, but that was still a time where parents asked this question: does my child need a cell phone? What age should my child buy a cell phone? Should I buy a cell phone, smartphone? And those debates were raging. As a high school community entered into those debates, we were so fortunate to have Rich Wistocki as a member of the Naperville Police, because I found myself both in investigations and in presentations turning to his expertise. Now, when I was principal in Neuqua Valley, we brought Rich to talk to our 9th grade students, our freshman students. That's where we really started our relationship with him, and he made such a high impact with those freshmen. Years later, when they were graduating as seniors, many of them recorded in an exit survey that it was the one presentation that stuck with them the most throughout high school. What happened was so many of our staff members who were parents were in that presentation supervising students. They heard the message and said to me, Bob, Dr. McBride, you've got to present this to staff. We did. Then before you knew it, people were saying, you've got to share this with parents. And continued on doing that. And really the rest is history. If you watch any news outlet that you're about to listen to, and they say in a moment, we'll be hearing from a cybersecurity expert, especially with teenagers, I can almost guarantee you it's good to be Rich Wistocki, no matter where you are in the country. So just so pleased to partner with him and to have his expertise. Kamala, I want to turn it over to you just to talk a little about KidsMatter and then really get the main event, Detective Wistocki in here. And I just want to thank parents for being here. You know that your kids are now online more than ever. And keeping them safe in that online space is critical. It's absolutely critical. Detective Wistocki, I'm going to steal his line. He said in a chat before this that if we don't continue to educate our students, they will continue to be victims. Very true words. Kamala.
Okay, thank you, Dr. McBride, and good evening, everyone. I'm Kamala Martinez, Executive Director of KidsMatter, like Dr. McBride said. And tonight, I just want, for those of you who aren't familiar with KidsMatter, we are a prevention-based organization based out of Naperville, and we focus on the overall health and development of youth from their social, their emotional, and their academia well-being. We serve annually over 100,000 youth and families that come through our programs and event annually every year. And tonight, it is our pleasure to be here and present to you Keeping Kids Safe on Their Devices. And with that, I would like to introduce Detective Rich Wistocki, who has been in law enforcement for over 30 years and 28 years was with the Naperville Police Department, like Dr. McBride said, and the last 22 years as the Internet Crimes Investigator. And he has also forged numerous partnerships with the community and other law enforcement agencies. He is an instructor of part of the Department of Justice and the law enforcement mobile training units and post units across the United States. He is also the creator of Illinois sex scene law. So won't you please welcome Detective Rich Wistocki. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. McBride. Thanks, Cam. Yeah, it's true. Dr. McBride and I go way back, and we were involved in a lot of cases. And the reasons why I left Naperville Police Department was I only did 28 years. I want to do 30, but I was asked when I was doing a parent presentation for Neuqua, I was asked by a parent if I wanted to do a TED Talk. And I was like, whoa, sure. So I did a TED Talk in 2018. And when that went viral, I started going all over the country teaching in schools, and it was really an amazing experience for me. Still is. I'm in Florida right now teaching law enforcement. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen here real quick. And then I'm going to move myself out here. Let's put this over here. How's that, Cam? Okay.
Mhm.
Is that all right? Okay, sounds good. I'm doing a dual screen, and I just want to make sure everything's running perfectly. All right, looks good. So yeah, that's my background. They hit it pretty good. So I currently do 3 things now that I'm retired. I train in schools all over the country through bsureconsulting.com. I am a law enforcement trainer for the National Association of School Resource Officers, and I also train first responders all over the country how to ask for help with PTSD and addiction. And I work for a treatment center in Delray Beach, Florida, and that's where I am right now. So without what we're going to go over today is that we're going to go over predators on your child's technology, how predators can get to your kids on their social networks. We're going to talk about applications. We're going to talk about some of the crimes in Illinois, strategies on how to protect your kids, to protect yourselves. And we're going to talk a lot about, at the end, monitoring software. So if you have any questions about what I'm talking about, just feel free to chat them up in the box. It'll come up in a computer, and then I'll know what your question is. So before we get started, I want to discuss with you 3 rules that will decide. You may want to stay in this webinar. You may want to turn it off if I offend you. If I offend you, I really don't care. If you want to turn this program off or walk away, I'm just going to tell you how it is. Okay, so here we go. All of you parents here tonight are responsible for your children. There, I said it. I'm sorry, I just may have upset you, but it's really true. You see, you're not only responsible for their food, clothing, shelter, and education, you are responsible for their technology as well. I don't care if Nana, Nonu, Tia, Tiu, Grandma, Grandpa bought them that new device for their birthday. They don't own it. You own everything about your kids all the way up until they're 18 years old. Please understand that. I don't care if they cut grass all summer, babysat all winter, to buy that device, that new iPhone 12 Max with their own money. They don't own it. You as a parent own everything about them until they're 18. They own nothing. And that's the start. Second thing, there is no such thing as privacy for children. Can I get an amen? Yes. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the frontal cortex of our kids' brains cannot handle what goes on social networks. It is your responsibility to guide and direct them to safety. And we're going to talk about today what to do and what not to do when it comes to the technology that you allow them to use. Okay? Third point. The third point I have for you is that when you allow your child to use that device that you bought them or you allow them to use, you must be able to gain access through that device anytime you want. If you have a junior high school student, a high school student, and you say, hey, who are you talking to my phone? No one, Mom, it's private. Oh, hell no. That phone's going for a swim. It's going to fly like a flying saucer and hit the wall. You are responsible for your kids' devices. And you should be able to get in there anytime you damn please, because it's your device, it's your kid, okay? Let me tell you why that's important. And the earlier you put this rule into place, the less effect it'll be later on in life. Here's the reason why. Last year before COVID hit, I had to go down to Southern Illinois to teach a parent class like this one in person. So before the class, I went to dinner with the sheriff and the chief. And I asked the chief, I said, hey, chief, who is doing your sexting, cyberbullying cases at your PD? He goes, oh, we don't handle that stuff. I'm like, what do you mean you don't handle it? What if somebody comes reports it to your police department? He goes, I give them to the FBI. I said, well, chief, the FBI doesn't handle juvenile matters. Well, we just tell them we don't handle it and suck it up. I was like, okay. And you should all know that I also work for the Lockport Police Department. I do the community education in the schools and in adult groups and things like that. So I also work for Lockport PD. So I gave the chief my card. I said, here you go, chief. I said, if you need anything, let me know. That was a Thursday night. Monday morning at 7 o'clock, I get a call. Hey, is this Dr. Wistocki? This is Detective so-and-so from so-and-so police department. I said, yeah, how can I help you? He goes, well, my chief told me to give you a call because Friday night we had a tragic event where I had two 10-year-olds over Snapchat, and one thought it would be a good idea to talk the other one into killing herself. And she did it. So now I have a dead kid. Now I have a kid who talked her into killing herself. I said, okay. I said, do you have the chat? He said, no. I said, why not? I said, you got the devices, don't you? And he said, yes. I said, well, go into Snapchat and look for this in their stories or their chat. He goes, I can't get into the device. I'm like, what do you mean you can't get into the device? Didn't the parents give you the code? The parents didn't know the code. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you. If you go into your kid's device and they have changed the code so you can't get in, that, my friends, is a consequence. Please understand. Please understand that you're responsible for your kids' technology. Now, what happens when we talk about younger kids, okay? When it's younger kids and they say, let's say, let's go to 4th and 5th graders, okay? In 4th and 5th grade, how old are they? How old are 4th and 5th graders? They're like 9 or 11 years old, right? Yeah. So when I go to elementary schools across the country, I ask them, how many of you have a Snapchat? Yeah. How many guys got a TikTok? Yeah. How many guys got Instagram? Yeah. 80% of them say yeah. So what does that tell you? Did you know, parents, that you have to be 13 years of age in order to have a social network? Did you know that? But what did your kids do if they have it? I want a Snapchat because all my friends in school have a Snapchat and everybody, you let my older brother and sister have a Snapchat, why can't I? It's not fair. How many of you guys went through that whining process, right? Yeah. And they whine and they whine and they whine. But we want to give our kids everything, right? If every other kid has it, my kid should have it too. But there's a danger to that. So our kids are not the best mathematicians around. And when you allow your kid to have a TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat, and they're not 13, they're 9, 10, 11 years old. Let's face it, they're not the best mathematicians, probably because of core math. No offense, Dr. McBride. But what happens is that when they have to put their date of birth in, they're like, I was born in 2010. Do I go up with my date of birth? Do I go down my date of birth? Oh, heck with it. I'll just round up to 2000. So I asked kids, 4th and 5th and 6th grade, how many of you did not want to sit there and figure out your date of birth and you put the year 2000? Half of the student body raises their hand when they put the date of birth of 2000. So when they lie about their age and they put 2000, chat me up, everyone, right now. Chat me up. Tell me how old they are now. Let's look if you guys see how's your math. Let's see how your math is. Who wants to leave with me? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Jay, you're right. Don't leave. So they are 21 years old. Okay. Okay, we have anonymous attendee. When is this over? So anonymous attendee is kind of Zoom bombing. Cam, we need to go to the dashboard and we will get their IP and I will track you down. How do you like those apples? So what happens is that when kids lie about their age, who do you think is going to send them pictures and videos? Adults, because they're 21. Who do you think is going to engage them in chat? Adults, because they're 21. Who do you think is going to ask them for naked pictures and videos? Adults, because they're putting in their 21. So parents, you need to be aware of what is going on with their social networks. You need to know in their profile what they put in there as their date of birth. And that's how you're going to make them safe. So when I asked 4th and 5th graders, I asked them, I said, how many of you put the date of birth 2000? Look, this is a grammar school in Freeport, Illinois. They almost all raised their hand because they put the year 2000. And all these kids are in danger because predators are going to come talk to them because they can't. So what do you remember when your parents, what did your parents tell you when you were growing up? When you left the house? Be safe, be careful, right? Do not talk to strangers. Be aware of your surroundings. Don't get near a strange car. And God forbid, don't go in a strange car, right? Didn't our parents tell us that? Well, parents, why today then do we have parents putting their kids in Ubers and Lyfts, picking them up from school, picking them up from a play day? Why is that happening? Just because the technology exists, parents, doesn't mean you have to use it. Please understand that. The fact of the matter is, when we look at Uber drivers that have been arrested for molesting their rides, there are a plethora. Uber drivers and Lyft drivers are not fully vetted. Sometimes they will split the cost with somebody who just gets out of prison. And they can't help themselves. So they molest their ride shares. Please do not put your child into somebody else's care and let them get into someone's car that you really don't know if there's a driver. That's the right driver. Please stop. There are schools in Naperville that the schools have to send letters home. We will not put your kid in a Uber or a Lyft if we see them coming. We will stay with them until you get out of work. Because what did we do when we were kids? We called the neighbor, we called Uncle Joe, right? We carpooled with the team. And guess what? If you can't find a ride for your kid, they don't go. They just don't go. I have never, ever seen a kid not get a scholarship because they don't go to practice one time. Never saw it before. So please do not put your kids in any more Ubers and Lyfts. Now, how do you talk to your kids about their technology? What is your technology talk? Does it go something like this? If you take bad pictures, if you tell people where we live, if you meet anybody, you're going to be grounded. I'm taking your phone away. You're not going to see the light of day, and the door is going to come off the hinges of your bedroom. If you ever. How many of your parents have done that? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm telling you, that's wrong. You should, when it comes to technology, you should never, ever, never, ever threaten them into compliance. Because when something called sextortion happens, they will never come to you. Let me give you an example. So I'm usually in about 150 to 200 schools a year. Over this past year, my is that no one has the right to make you feel bad about yourself or to make you do something you know you shouldn't be doing. If someone is doing something like that to you, you need to come to us. If you come to us, we're going to be able to find out who it is, because when it comes to social networking and when it comes to gaming online, no one online is anonymous. No one. Out of those 25 schools, ladies and gentlemen, I had 17 kids come forward because of the message and empowerment I give them. No one has the right to do that to your child. I have trained every member of the Lockport Police Department on how to take a great cybercrime report and how to investigate these cases. Please understand that. No one has the right to do this to your kid, making them feel bad about themselves or making them do something they know they shouldn't be doing. And here's another example. We're going to talk a lot about sextortion, okay? Sextortion is blackmail for kids. Now, in my career, I've arrested over 300 predators. 100 of those predators were involved in sextortion. And you may think that a sextortionist is some creepy dude that lives in his mom's basement, right? Well, that's not actually the case. 60% of the suspects are someone your kid went to school with or someone they know. Someone they went to school with or someone they know. 40% of them are someone that they met on a social network or a gaming platform. I belong to something called an ICAC, ICAC. That stands for Internet Crimes Against Children, okay? The ICAC, there are 61 ICAC task forces across the United States. I am one of 5,000 people who do this type of work. And we hunt down predators through their social networks and gaming platforms. So when we talk about sextortion, this happens everywhere. And those 17 kids that came forward was a result of someone blackmailing them for pictures or for money or for meat. Okay, here's how it happens. Let's say your kid is in Minecraft, right? For 2 hours after school, every day for 2 months, they go to Minecraft. Let us assume they're making these sick kingdoms, underground fortresses with lava and rocks and all this stuff. And then they meet someone that they really get along with in Minecraft. So for 2 months, they're going back and forth playing with each other. But one day after 2 months, this person your kid met on Minecraft says, hey, do you have a WhatsApp? Hey, do you have a Skype? Hey, do you have a Kik account? Let's go there and talk. And what I tell the students is, this is your first red flag. If someone takes you off your gaming platform to go to private chat, they are not who they say they are. Because if you had something to say to me, why not tell it to me on the game? Why do I have to go over there? Here's why. The National Center of Missing and Exploited Children has programs that runs in the background of every gaming platform in the United States, social network in the United States, and cloud service in the United States. For example, how many of you received a new phone over the last year? Right? So how did you get the information from your old phone over to your new phone? How did you do it? You went to the store, you got it. You backed up your phone to the cloud, and then you put all the stuff from the cloud into your new phone, right? Or you put them next to each other. Well, that information is going from the cloud into your phone. When you back up phones to the cloud, whether it's a Google Cloud or an iCloud, there's a program looking for inappropriate pictures and videos that are child pornographic. When that happens, it gets reported to the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, and then one of 5,000 people like me have to investigate it. It's called a cyber tip. So when we talk about why predators get your kids off the platform to go to private chat, that's why. They know that program is running there, But if they can go to a private chat, they nobody's watching and listening. So that's the first red flag I give to students. So I want to show you exactly how sextortion happens. Now, let's say your kid goes to WhatsApp and they don't know any better because they haven't been to my class or you have not talked to them. And they go to WhatsApp. And then what happens is their friend they've known for so long, 2 months, right? So long, says, hey, you want to see what I really look like? Say, sure. They send 2 naked pictures that they say it's themselves, or a video of them taking their clothes off, but it's not really them. They got it from somewhere else. And then your kid, once they receive that and they're like, oh, it's like that, is it? The common denominator, every sextortion case where someone wants to get naked pictures of your kid, which is child pornography, they will say one of 2 things. Now, you owe me 1 pic, or you owe me nudes. They try to get your kids to take naked pictures of themselves. So when they say, okay, maybe I'll give you a little boob shot, okay? They send it to their friend they've known for so long, 2 months, right? When they send it to that friend's gonna say, hey, 3 days later, how do you like your new Instagram account with your boob shot? I even put your name on it, see that? If you don't make me pictures and videos every week, I have your entire contact list, I'm sending your pictures out. Or if you don't pay me $200 right now with your mom's credit card, I'm gonna send this to everybody you know, your team, your church, your school, everybody is gonna know that you did this. And what's your kid gonna say? Oh my God, this isn't what I thought it was. I gotta go tell my parents. If you go tell your parents, you're gonna be crying, I'm taking your phone away, you're not gonna do this, I don't lose my phone. I don't wanna get in trouble. I'll just take 1 video. He says he'll leave me alone if I just do 1 video. It's never 1 picture. It's never 1 video. It'll continue till you can't handle it anymore. This is sextortion. So let me show you how it actually happens. I'm gonna stop my share and then reshare.
Hi, Zach. Here's another video from my special guy. I can't believe we haven't talked all day. I wish you went to my school or a little closer so we could finally meet.
Hey, kiddo. Dinner in an hour. Don't spend too long on the phone.
Okay, I know you've been waiting for this for a while, so I wanted to give you something special. Is this okay?
Those are screen captures, and that's her new account. Do you think your 11 or 12-year-old can handle something like that?
Who are you? Why are you doing this?
See all the victims? When a high school student or junior high student comes to us, when they say they're being sextorted, they're usually 1 of 10, 1 of 20, 1 of 30. And that's why we take these reports very, very seriously. Stop my share and share again. So you should also know that Dr. McBride had also requested the school resource officers at Lockport High School to attend my training. So I've trained them very well, and they know exactly what to do if one of the students come forward. They will call me and I will help them through the process. So what is the appropriate technology talk with your kids? And I want to talk to you about something called the golden ticket. What the golden ticket says, when you go back after this presentation, and I'm also going to show you a feature film that I had released with Bark called Childhood 2.0, Childhood 2.0. You can get it off of YouTube. It's free. It's an hour-and-a-half movie that I was involved in. And we show what kids are up to when it comes to high school, junior high, and elementary, what parents think, and how they are so inappropriately trained on how to deal with technology interaction with their kids. So when we talk about the golden ticket, you're going to go back to your kids and say, look, I learned some things that happened on social media and social networks and gaming platforms last night. I can't believe what's happening. I watched Childhood 2.0. And if you watch Childhood 2.0, I suggest that you watch it yourself with your spouse or your significant other, and then decide at that time whether or not this is a good idea to have you watch it with your kids to open that door for discussion. So what the golden ticket says is that you're going to sit down with them and tell them, look, all those things that we threaten you into compliance, I want you to throw that out the window. If someone makes you do something you know you shouldn't be doing, if someone is trying to make you feel bad about yourself, you need to come to us. If you come to us, we're going to give you that golden ticket and there will be no consequences. We're not going to take your phone away. We're not going to ground you. We're not going to keep you from your friends. We're not going to keep you in your room, because we want you to understand that we are responsible for you and we never want to have anything like this happen. And if somebody is doing something bad to you, I hope you come and tell us before you decide to partake in that activity, because we can help you. And we're going to give you that golden ticket. Now, as parents, no, you're not going to give them consequences, but it doesn't mean you're not going to redefine their boundaries, right? Like deleting their Snapchat, their Instagram, or their TikTok and starting over, right? Maybe you want to, if any of you are dealing with the question, are any of you dealing with the question right now? Should I get my phone? Should I get my kid a phone or not? If you're in that gray area right now with your younger kids, get them an Android. Do not buy them an iPhone. iPhone does not allow real-time monitoring of what happens on the device. They don't allow it unless it is a school device, and there's a company called Lightspeed Systems that does allow real-time because they're an Apple partner. But any other software does not allow real-time alerts when it comes to the device. So you can have any device you want, but your kid's device, if you're thinking about what kind of phone to give them, the best way to monitor that is to get them an Android. And we'll talk about monitoring software later. But you may want to change that up because of the activities that they displayed. It's not a consequence. You're just trying to make them safer from what had happened, and let them slowly earn back their social media when they can show that they've earned your trust into getting that social network back. That's the golden ticket rule. So what apps are your kids using in their rooms at night? So a lot of times the apps that they're using are video chat apps, such as TikTok, such as Snapchat, such as Fortnite, not so much anymore, YOLO. YOLO runs in Snapchat, and it was created to tell your friends something good about them anonymously. Well, how do you think kids use it, right? They use it to cyberbully each other, to say nasty things because they think it's anonymous. It's not anonymous, I'm here to tell you. Hangouts, Teams, Instagram, House Party, Discord is a big one. I've been doing news, like Dr. McBride said, I've had all these news outlets call me these last couple of weeks because of Discord, where predators go where the kids are. I mean, there's a lot of kids in Minecraft, there's a lot of kids in Call of Duty, there's a lot of kids in Roblox That's where the predators go. And then they slowly take them to Discord where they can chat, share pictures and images. And then they take them over to a private chatting platform. That is the progression that they take. Facebook, not so much. Twitter, there's a kind of a new app called Amino, where kids who lead an alternative lifestyle like emo go to Amino. Perfect victims, right? Roblox, of course, Minecraft, and unfortunately, because of distance learning, our kids are always looking for personal contact, right? They want to be able to talk and interact with people in person. Well, because of COVID, they couldn't. So what did they do? They went to Omegle. If you go to omegle.com, it says talk to strangers. And kids are doing that while you're at work or you're at school or you're too busy. They go to Omegle. And there's like naked dudes there that are living in their mom's basement, and they're exposing your children to all kinds of sexual activity. It's called Omegle. Now, when we talk about the two biggest threats in TikTok and Omegle, understand that when you allow your child to charge their devices in their rooms at night, that's when this starts to happen. And when they're on TikTok and Omegle, it's really important for you to understand that the predators goes where the kids are. It's really important for you to understand that. Now, I did a webinar about 2 months ago, and when the parent got the flyer, she goes, TikTok, what's wrong with TikTok? TikTok's fun, my kids do dances. But she went to the videos of her two twin daughters who were 12 years old, and this is what she typed to me right before she came to the webinar. When she went to go see her daughter's videos, she was overwhelmed, and she never thought, because parents suffer from a disease. This disease could be deadly to your children. This disease is called the NMK syndrome. NMK syndrome. What does the NMK syndrome stand for? Not my kid. When you find yourself telling yourself, my kid would never, that's the time to check, because most of the time parents will tell their kids, oh, you would never do that, right, sweetheart? Oh, no, mom. But they do it. When they know you think that way, they will try these things. And this is what happened here. So how do we make our TikToks private for your kids? Well, I want to give you a diagram to show you how to do that. Go to their device that you let them use, right? You go to the three dots in the upper right-hand corner. You go to privacy and safety. And then you check off private account. And then what you do is you decide who can see their stuff, okay? And this is how you make it safe. Now understand this. When they go to a sleepover, my kids never went on sleepovers, by the way, they will sometimes change this. And they want to get more followers so they can get more for your page links, right? To be more popular. You have to check. It is a part-time job, but you're responsible what happens to your kids and know what they're into, okay? Please understand that. So ask yourself this question. Again, this is a big no-no. Is this really, okay. It's lightening up, getting dark, lightening up. I want this to get, okay. So what happens is when we talk about one of the biggest dangers to your kids, do I allow my child to charge their devices in their rooms at night? You see, when you allow your child to charge their device in the rooms at night, you're sleeping. They shut the door so you can't hear them. There's no need to talk. It's typing, reading, and performing. It's quiet in their bedrooms. Everybody's sleeping. They feel empowered. Their sense of safety goes down because they're safe in their bed. There's nothing that they can't handle. A predator will come to your kids in their bedroom. I love your makeup. Let me see your room. And your kids will show them their room. Your kids will be told, oh, I love the way your hair looks. I love the way your makeup. You're so beautiful. You're so handsome. Oh my God, look at those muscles. And they try to groom your child into compliance. What kid doesn't want to know at 13, 14 years old that they're not handsome or beautiful? This is what predators do. This is how they groom your children. And it starts, the common denominator in all the actual victims that I've had when it comes to child exploitation is that I had parents allowing them to charge their devices in their rooms at night. Keep those devices in your rooms, parents. Keep those devices on the kitchen table or on the island charging and not in their bedrooms. So I get this a lot. My daughter tells me everything. She tells me about, we're best friends. She tells me about all the drama in school. We're so close, we even wear the same clothes together. Moms, please understand, don't kid yourself. Ask yourself this question. Did you tell your mom everything when you were that age? Of course you didn't. So what makes you think your darling little daughter is going to tell you everything? They don't. They just tell you enough so you think they tell you everything. Now, this is an experience from dealing with over 300 kids every year for 28 years, okay? I've dealt with thousands of kids, and that's my experience. But when your child can get in between your husband and the mother, or mother, husband, whatever it is, okay? When they can get in between you two, and one goes to bat for the other, that's when problems will happen. It'll deteriorate your marriage, and it will, in the future, show this kid how to manipulate relationships. So how do you get over that? Always be a team when your kid wants to do something, so there's no place for them to go. When you are a team with your spouse, they will understand, I can't pit one against the other because they are a team. Understand this is one of the biggest mistakes parents make, because sometimes they'll use technology to get that point across. So when we talk about how do you relate to your kids, so many parents try to be friends with their kids. Our kids don't need any more friends. They need mentors. They need confidants that they can trust to do the right thing for them when they are in need, whether that need is a relationship, whether they are being sextorted, cyberbullied, beat up at school, whatever. They need to be able to come to you, okay? They don't need any more friends. One of the biggest mistakes that parents make is that they tell their kids what they did when they were their age, that's illegal. Why would you do that? Because I guarantee you, when you tell your kids, oh, when I was your age, we put a kegger in the trunk, we went to the woods to drink. You are writing them the gift certificate to go do that thing. Because when they get caught for that thing that you told them you did, what's the first thing that's going to come out of their mouths? When they get caught by the principal, Dr. McBride, or the police department, what's the first thing going to come out of their mouths? What are you yelling at me for? My mom did it too. You kidding me? Let's go. I ain't got time for this. And they're going to be like, what? You told your kid you did what? I mean, I get crazy stuff like parents say, well, when we smoked weed when I was your age, it was different then. How is that different? How is that different? You're trying to be the cool parent. Now, I understand on relationships, that's a different story. If your kid is hurt in a relationship, you need to be there for them. You need to tell them what your experience is. But when it comes to when you did things that were illegal that you got caught for or didn't get caught for, understand when you tell your kids this, they're going to try that thing that you told them you did because you're their mentor. So please do not tell your kids what you did when you were their age. And moms, God gave you an awesome power called the maternal instinct. You see, God gave you this power to protect your babies. Now, whether your baby is 6 months old or 40, that feeling never goes away. How many of you moms experience that? Oh my God, something's wrong. No, I know something's wrong. I know something's wrong. My advice to you moms, when you feel this way, is to investigate, investigate, investigate. And you know where your answers are going to be, moms? Right here. This is where it's going to be. So if you want to find out the answer to how you're feeling, it's in here. That's why monitoring software is so very important. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So who are your kids allowed to talk to? Well, when I go into schools, I tell them they have to know 5 things. They have to know their first name, their last name, where that kid goes to school, their phone number, and their address. And they have to physically verify. So when you as a parent go in their Snapchat and say, hey, who's Jimmy Jam 23 you're giving all this information to? Well, Jimmy's in my 4th period gym class, Mom. That's a verification. If they can't tell you who this person is, they didn't really do their verification. If they haven't verified physically for themselves, everyone else online is a liar. That's my base when I talk to the students at the school. If you haven't verified for yourself, everyone else is a liar. But how do you overcome the situation in which someone online wanting gets to know your kid? So I ask kids this: how many webcams do you have? Think about that, parents, 1 second. How many webcams do your kids have? So when I ask the kids, how many of you have a webcam on your Chromebook or your laptop? How many of you have a webcam on your gaming computer at home? How many of you have a webcam on your phone? They all raise their hand. How many of you have a webcam on your tablet or your iPad at home? They all raise their hand. With parent permission, I always caveat this with the students. With parent permission, if someone's trying to get to know you, that you met on a gaming platform or on a social network, tell them, hey, with parent permission, hey, you're asking me all kinds of information. I really want to know, what you look like, who you are, just to get to know you before I give you information. Let's go to webcam. If the person they're talking to says webcam, oh, I don't have one of those. Predator. Every kid, at least they have 2 webcams, right? If they say to you, oh, webcam, I don't have enough bandwidth for that. Bandwidth? Is this like AOL days where you have dial-up? If you can't go to a McDonald's or Starbucks or Panera, they all have Wi-Fi. You can go to Wi-Fi. Predator. If they tell your kid, sure, yeah, let's go to Skype. We can Skype. You go to Skype, and the predator can see your kid and your kid can hear them. But when your kid looks at them, it's kind of fuzzy. What predators do, ladies and gentlemen, they take a piece of Scotch tape and they put it over the camera. And they'll tell your kid, oh, that's okay, I can hear you. It must be something on your end that you can't see me. Let's just keep on talking. If they tell your kid that, predator. So I go through these 3 different scenarios to make your kids safe, so they know if someone's trying to get to know them, and it's actually some creepy dude that does live in my basement, they're going to know if that predator says any one of those 3 things by saying, hey, with parent permission, hey, let's go to webcam first. This way your kids can't be catfished, which means they are pretending to be someone that they're not, and they're not going to be a victim of sextortion or being groomed. This is how predators get to kids. I really don't have time to play this, but if you go to YouTube, and it's called Trust the Movie. Trust the Movie is a really good, I'll just play it because it's really important for you to know how predators can get to your kid. And this has everything because the parents buy an unfettered device for their kids. They don't put monitoring software in it. And then what happens? They allow her to take it in a room and she's being groomed by a predator. Here we go.
It's the new MacBook Pro. Who are you talking to?
I'm chatting, Dad. My friend Charlie from California. He's a junior and plays volleyball for his high school. He's smart and really funny. He's encouraging, he's sweet, and he thinks I'm beautiful. Hi, Charlie. Where are you? I'm sitting on a bench just outside.
Annie?
Annie, what happened? How old is he?
I'm angry I didn't know what was going on.
Will, you all right, buddy?
Maybe he didn't even like me.
You were attacked.
It wasn't like that. You don't even know him!
She is in pain. She needs you. I want this guy out of my house. I want him.
My life is ruined. Nothing's ever gonna be the same.
People get hurt. The only thing we can do is we can be there for each other when we do fall down to pick each other up.
So that was a great movie. I like this movie because you can actually see the chat, and the grooming language is just incredible, and it's actually exactly how it happens. So if you want to indulge, just go to YouTube and put "Trust the Movie," and you'll be able to see what's going on there. Okay. So how do you talk to your kids about the apps that they're using? Okay. So basically, what happens, learn what social networks that they're using. Sit with them. See who they're chatting to. If they ask them, how do you know this person? If they've done the verification, they're going to say, well, this person goes to this school, or this person plays for that team, and blah, 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 blah. If you get a, who is this? And you get the answer of, that's a stalling technique. That means they met that person online and they haven't done the verification. That person needs to be blocked because they really don't know who that person is. Okay. So now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is where your kids will hide pictures and videos. Okay. So I want to do an exercise with you right now. Go ahead and pull your phones out, parents. Go ahead, pull them out. I want you to go to your app store right now or Google Play and type in hide my pictures or hide my video. Go ahead and type that in. Hide my pictures or hide my video in your app store or your Google Play on your phones right now. Go ahead and do that. I'll give you a second. So what you're going to see, 10 to 12 different apps called vaults, V-A-U-L-T-S, vaults. These vaults are places where kids will hide their pictures and videos they don't want you to see. The most popular one is the calculator app. It looks like a calculator. It works like a calculator. If you put 1 + 1 =, it'll give you 2. But if you put in the default password, which is usually .1234. And then you hit AC, it'll open up all the pictures and videos they don't want you to see. This is called a vault. The most popular one, again, is the calculator app. So how do you know if your kid has one? Easy. No kid needs 2 calculators. Duh. If they have 2 calculators that look the same, you know one of those are a vault. Now, I want you to be careful. These calculator vault apps have added this past year a new feature. If they see a parent coming and they're in their vault, they can shake the phone and it deletes it right off the phone. If a parent tries more than 3 times to access the vault, it'll delete it right off the phone. So be careful. And then, of course, we have Snapchat. Snapchat is so great, they have their own vault called My Eyes Only. I can't tell you how many parents don't even realize that this is on there. I've had kids being sextorted. I've had kids being cyberbullied to the point where the predator wanted them to kill themselves. I had my own family member whose 13-year-old son did inappropriate videos and kept them here, and the parents didn't even realize until I led them through this. So here's where this is at. When you go to Snapchat, let me pull it up for you. Okay. So I am going to go to my Snapchat. When you go to the little deck of cards next to the snap button, the little deck of cards next to the snap button. When you go there, you're going to see snaps, stories, camera roll, my eyes only. When you go to my eyes only, if there's a code that comes up there, that means they're hiding things in there they don't want you to see. So when you put the code in, it'll open up all the pictures they don't want you to see. And parents, 3 out of 5 times are really, really upset of what their kids are storing in my eyes only. A couple of other things that you need to be aware of is something called Mega. Mega is a cloud service, much like Dropbox, but they're in New Zealand, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children are not getting cyber tips from them. Predators know this. As a matter of fact, I was in a Catholic school in Naperville, and a mom says, "Hey, I've got Mega on my phone." I'm like, "Do you share your cloud with your daughters?" "Yes." Well, somebody taught her daughters to put inappropriate pictures and videos in Mega and give them access so they can download it. So Mega. A lot of you parents will tell your kids, "Well, I follow my daughter's Instagram. That's the only way she can have it. I have to follow her and she has to follow me." Well, welcome to the world of Finsta. You see, when you do that and you say that to your kids, "I have to follow you and you have to follow me," they will have an Instagram for you. And then they have an Instagram they really use called a Finsta. It's a fake Instagram account. Well, how do you know if your kid has one? Easy. If you go to the one you know about and they haven't posted anything for a week or two, you know they have a Finsta because they're on it every day. And if they haven't posted, commented, or anything on the one you know about, you know that they have a secondary one that they really use. So what is the darknet? I'm going to go to the darknet. I'm going to explain to you what is here. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about, because we're running out of time, about how we investigate computer crime, and then I'll take questions. So what the darknet is a place where it anonymizes the user. It's like a huge virtual private network, or VPN, that when you download the darknet, usually through a Mozilla, what they call a Tor browser. Tor stands for the onion router, okay? It's usually this green globe right here. If you see that on their desktop or on their bottom tray, there's really no good reason for a teenager to have the Tor network or the darknet, because here's what they do with them. They buy copious amounts of drugs off the darknet. They can buy weapons. They can buy guns. They can buy people off the darknet, okay? Dr. McBride remembers back in 2013, we had, or 2016 actually, we had 13 kids from Naperville North who were ingesting gummy bears, and 13 kids went to the hospital. They chewed a gummy bear and they got those from the darknet. There's a famous doctor, the female psychologist, relationship doctor in California. Her kid thought he was taking Xanax. They got him from the darknet. It was actually fentanyl, and he died. So again, if you see this glowing globe on your kid's desktop, they're going to the darknet. There's no reason why a kid needs to go to the darknet. So I want to explain to you how we investigate computer crime, and then we're going to go into monitoring, and then we'll end it there. When it comes to gaming online, when it comes to social networking, no one online is anonymous. Your kids are going to say, there's maybe people on this saying, "Well, I'll go to VPN, you'll never catch me." We still catch you, okay? So we do something called a subpoena or a search warrant on the account. What these people keep is the emails, the phone numbers, the IPs, all your geolocation data, and we can find out who it is. That's why when I tell kids, no one has the right to make you feel bad about yourself or to make you do something you know you shouldn't be doing. If you do that, I'm going to show you now how to report it to us, that we can find out who it is. Let me go through these laws real quick. Okay, so how do you take a cybercrime report? Well, does it fit a crime is the first thing you have to ask yourself. Such as false personation, no one has the right to make a fake account on your son or daughter. That's illegal. Using their picture, their name, or their likeness. Cyberbullying, harassment, and obscene communications. And what this says is making any comment, request, suggestion, or proposal that is obscene with the intent to offend. Cyber stalking, if something happens on 2 or more occasions that your son or daughter or a third person is in fear of their safety or safety of another person, it has to happen on 2 or more occasions. That's a felony. It's called stalking. Sexual exploitation of a child. I wrote this law in the state of Illinois. I wrote the sexting law. I wrote the swatting law. I wrote the new SRO legislation in Illinois. There's a new legislation coming out where every school in the state of Illinois has to have cyberbullying and sexting training with appropriate consequences. And we offer that. So all of these things in desolicitations, when they want to meet with your kid, grooming, if this happens, these are the things you need to grab as evidence to report it to the school or to the Lockport Police Department. I need screen captures of everything. Screen captures of the chat, the profiles, pictures and videos. I need screen capture, print them out and make them a file. The next thing I need is the user ID. I'm going to show you some examples of that. If I don't have the right user ID, we can't do the case. So I'm going to show you where those user IDs are so you can report it appropriately to the police department. I get a lot of school administrators and sometimes police officers that I have not trained will tell you as the parent, oh, just delete it, it'll go away. That's just an excuse not to take a report. Sometimes they will tell you, just report it to the social network. They'll take care of everything for you. Yeah, right. If you're going to report something to the police, do not report it to the abuse section of that social network. Let me say that again. If you're going to report something to us, to the Lockport Police Department, do not report it to the abuse section, because when you report it to them before you report it to us, we're going to go do a preservation, search warrant, or subpoena on that account. And if you already told them, and if it's a violation of terms of service, they may have deleted the account. So what are we going to get in return of that subpoena or search warrant? Absolutely nothing. So please understand, if you're going to report it to us, do not report it to them. I need your son or daughter to make a detailed typed report. What happened? I was in Omegle. This person then took me to WhatsApp, and then his screen name was this, my screen name was that. Then we went here and his phone number was this, and we went to Snapchat. I need details typed up, printed up, and I need everything saved in a flash drive. Everything I just told you, saved in a flash drive. Not one flash drive, 2 flash drives. So make duplicate copies, because sometimes cops lose stuff. So when you give that to the patrol officer with all the printed stuff that's on that flash drive, they can make an appropriate cybercrime report when it comes to your kid. Now, how do we take screen captures with an iPhone? If you have an older one, it's the power button, home button, same time. If you have the 10, 11, or 12, it's a click at the top. If you have an Android, it's palm swipe to capture, or it could be a click at the top, volume down, and power button. So where are the user IDs? When we talk about Skype, there is a user ID there. If it is anyone in here, okay, you have to right click, view profile, and go to Skype name. If one of these are the suspects, right click on that name, view profile, and get the Skype name. This is not the user ID, okay? Now, when it comes to Instagram, it's simply the name in the upper left-hand corner. That's the information that we need there. If it is in Snapchat, it's not the top name, it's the bottom name. They can change that top name anytime they want. It's the bottom name that they need. So a lot of you understand that there's something called snap mapping, where if your son or daughter has their location services on in Snapchat, they can locate your child within 20 feet. Lockport High School students use this all the time when they're going to parties. They want to see who's at that party, so they open up their Snap Map and they can see if they're friends, if it's a good party, if it's not a good party, and that's how they can see who's at that party. So a lot of times when I talk to the kids, I'm like, you know, what happens in Snapchat if somebody screenshots your snap that you put out? Well, I'll know. Well, it's too late. They already have it. But there's also third-party software out there, ladies and gentlemen, that people can record the screen. And you won't even know, your son or daughter won't even know that they're keeping everything on them. So that's why it's important to have a conversation with your kids, with your students, that look, if you're emotionally charged and you're mad at someone or you want to get back at someone, understand that they can be recording the screen if you're venting, and they can share it with anybody. If you want to vent at somebody, pick up the phone and call them and tell them what you think. At least you have a less likelihood of them recording your conversation and using it against you at a later time. Now, I want to stop here at monitoring software. The best monitoring software that's out there is actually Bark. We have saved so many kids' lives, and that's how my friend of my family got saved, because he was about to meet who he thought was a 15-year-old girl. His girlfriend was actually an internet predator, and he was going to meet her at Fox Valley Mall. But the parents got the alert first from Bark. So if you go to bark.us, or if you go to my website and go to school meetings, and then there's monitoring software, you can get Bark for 30 days or 2 weeks for free and to try it out. It's really, really a fantastic. It goes on artificial intelligence by the way they speak with someone, by the way what they search for, but what they're looking at online. It puts it all together, and sometimes it'll send alerts to the parents, and it'll show you what they're involved in, whether it's suicide, drugs, or anything like that. So I want to end, and I'll take your questions. Here's all my information if you want to take a picture of that. Again, my Facebook account is CyberSafe Schools Online. Check out on YouTube Childhood 2.0. If you have any comments, questions, just email me, or you can phone me at 0044. I'll open this up for questions right now, and I will stop my share and see where we're at. Okay. Let me see. Hopefully I wasn't boned. Dude, it sounds like you're projecting. These kids have no idea how we can trace them. Okay. Anything, Cam?
I don't see anything on the chat, and I've been watching the Q&A, so we don't have anything. If anyone wants to ask a question, please feel free to either raise your hand.
Okay, I have a statement here. My child was threatened from an unknown person using an iCloud account, and the Will County Sheriff told me yesterday that they cannot subpoena Apple. Suggested we block the account and file an online report to create a paper trail. Okay, so here's the deal. Not all police departments are training their patrol officers how to take a cybercrime report, okay? I can tell you that there's things that we do, preservation being one, subpoena or search warrant being a second, that I can absolutely find out who is messaging your kid, if they have an iCloud account or WhatsApp account, it doesn't matter. Situations that I have, you know, I ran the Jim Glasgow's High Technology Crimes Unit. In addition to my duties in Naperville from 2012 to 2016, Jim Glasgow hired me, and I worked there from 8 to 12. And Jim Glasgow and Ken Gray allowed me to do my work. I had an amazing team, and we arrested 100 predators at the end of 4 years and saved over 300 kids. So again, the problem is that there's not a lot of patrol officers who are trained in this stuff or know what they can get. And that's why I teach a patrol response to internet crime class, to show them what they can get. So I would reach out. If the sheriff's not going to take your complaint, I would reach out to the state's attorney's office and talk to Mike Casson, who is their complaint officer, and he's very well versed. And you know, he was my supervisor for a very long time, and he knows exactly what to do. To answer your question, when are freshmen in school getting this presentation? Dr. McBride, are we going to do this in the fall like we did it in October, right? With Principal Miss Green? We usually do the freshman
Yeah, we are
classes.
planning on making this just an annual event. And we were, despite COVID times, we did this in the fall with Carrie Green and her leadership, and just keep on making this part of our onboarding of students. Sometimes when I'm working with parents say, wow, this should be an every year thing. But one of the things I think, Detective Wistocki would agree that is certainly true. But there is we found that fulcrum between middle school and ninth grade is probably the sort of zone of development that you're really talking about here, where the technology is more sophisticated than the judgment, really, to be honest with you. And so we found ninth grade is really the place where this lands at the right time and the right message.
And you're absolutely right. So as parents, you need to also understand is that I also work for District 92, and I'm in Oak Prairie. I'm in Ludwig. Also, we go to all the other Lockport schools because I work with the Lockport Police Department. So Lockport and Homer Township Lockport are very well covered with this information. Another thing that we're doing because of COVID, I created something called cyberparenting-101.com, cyberparenting-101.com. And if you know parents that need this, they can take an online class themselves. And if you go into school resources, a lot of the schools are getting the entire video package for parents, faculty, and students and talking about it in class. See any other questions?
As well as also, Rich, and I don't know if Grace is still on, but we will be running cyber programs and cyber information in the PE classes next week in the schools as well.
Any other questions that we can answer? Okay, great. Again, hit me up on my Facebook page. You can email me, text me, whatever you'd like, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions privately if you have a private situation. Thank you very much.